Play unpacking the NBA trade deadline. 056 A flurry of moves reshaped the present and future of the league on Thursday. Make sense of them in less than a minute. 056 February 8, 2018 Who were the biggest winners and losers at the trade deadline? With a brand new Cleveland Cavaliers roster, Isaiah Thomas in LA, and potential contenders waiting for the buyout market. Let's take a look. Winner, Golden State Warriors. Losers, Boston Celtics, Toronto Raptors. The only moves before Thursday's trade deadline that will impact the NBA's championship picture were the 3 trades made by the struggling Cleveland Cavaliers. The consensus seems to be that the Cavaliers have dramatically improved their chances of winning a second championship before LeBron James can become a free agent this summer. I'm not so sure. Unquestionably, Cleveland has improved compared to the dysfunctional group we saw lose 14 of its last 22 games since returning from his hip injury. Thomas has been one of the league's least effective players, and replacing him with a point guard rotation of George Hill and Jordan Clarkson will immediately improve the Cavaliers. Cleveland has also added more shooting with Rodney Hood stepping into the wing rotation in place of Jay Crowder and Dwayne Wade, and more athleticism and explosiveness in the frontcourt with Larry Nance Jr. replacing Channing Frye. Perhaps more important, the Cavaliers have reset their chemistry after the difficulty of integrating Thomas led to finger-pointing in the locker room. Something had to change in Cleveland, and many things did. All that should concern the Celtics and the Raptors, who had to hope, if only briefly, that the Cavaliers might be so broken as to crash out early from the playoffs, before a possible Eastern Conference Finals matchup with them. Surely, neither Boston nor Toronto wants to see even a lesser Cleveland team in the playoffs after the Cavaliers soundly defeated both en route to last year's NBA Finals. At the same time, I don't think Cleveland's moves should cause the Warriors to fear a 4th consecutive Finals matchup, dealing Thomas seeded the possibility that the Cavs could get him back to last year's All-NBA form, which would have given them a second shot creator on the perimeter. And Crowder, sent to the Utah Jazz, looked like an ideal matchup for Golden State's versatile frontcourt. Without them, Cleveland is left with a lower ceiling. Projections using the multi-year, predictive version of ESPN's Real Plus Minus RPM don't suggest this Cavaliers roster is in the same class as the Warriors. Let's take a look at a possible rotation once Kevin Love returns to the lineup. Player minute offense defense George Hill 28-26.60.30.0 Rodney Hood 28-27.80.1 to 1.5 LeBron James 36-37.14.30.7 Kevin Love 28-28.01.71.1 Tristan Thompson 20-20.6 to 1.01.1 Jordan Clarkson 18-23.7 to 0.3 to 1.8 J.R. Smith 15-29.8 to 0.6 to 1.5 Sadie Usman 87.9 to 0.9 to 0.5 Kyle Korver 15-21.40.0 to 0.8 Jeff Green 22-22.2 to 1.2 to 0.9 Larry Nance Jr. 22-22.0 to 0.41.9 Total 2402.9 to 0.4 RPM Projects Cleveland is nearly average defensively, which would be a huge improvement for a team that currently ranks 29th in defensive rating. However, the projection of an offense 2.9 points per 100 possessions better than league average would be slightly worse than what the Cavaliers have managed so far, 3.4 points per 100 possessions better. This kind of team would typically win about 47 games in a full season, similar to Cleveland's current pace but obviously much better than the team has managed recently, and better than what the Cavaliers' negative point differential would typically suggest. It's possible role players such as Hill, Hood and Nance will exceed their projections playing alongside James. Still, the pressing question of who the Cavaliers' third best player is after James and Love remains up for debate. And that's a big downgrade from when Kyrie Irving was a part of Cleveland's Big Three. The Warriors and Lakers are in good shape after the trade deadline. AP Photo/Ringo HW, Chew winner, Los Angeles Lakers loser. Isaiah Thomas suggested last month that the Lakers should look to sell high on Clarkson in the midst of the best season of his career if they could find a taker who would send back expiring contracts in return. Little did I imagine then that the Lakers would be able to foist Clarkson on the very team whose star they hope to sign. To be clear, we should not consider this a LeBron or bust move for the Lakers. Whether they're planning to aggressively pursue multiple max players this summer or pivot to 2019, as ESPN's Ramona Shelburne and Adrian Wojnarowski reported earlier this week, moving Clarkson's salary was an important step. Who won the deadline? What were the biggest surprises and what's next? Our NBA experts break down what happened and what it means. ESPN insider Kevin Pelton grades every deal that went down leading up to the NBA trade deadline. You can find all of his analysis on the Cavs, Lakers, Blake Griffin and more here. Which players gained and lost fantasy value due to NBA trade deadline swaps? We break down every notable deal throughout the day right here. The Lakers now have two paths available. If need be, they can renounce the rights to restricted free agent Julius Randle and waive Luol Deng and stretch the $36 million plus remaining on his contract. Those moves probably would give them enough cap space to sign a max free agent with 10 plus years of experience, like James, and one with 7 to 9 years of experience, like Paul George. Alternatively, they can hang on to Deng, try to re-sign Randle to a reasonable contract and wait until summer 2019, when there will be additional max talent on the market. In that case, the Lakers would still have about $45 million in cap space to take on short-term salary from teams in the luxury tax or sign players to one-year contracts. They're in an enviable position either way. The same can't be said for Thomas, who has seen his market value diminish dramatically over the past 9 months. The best remaining hope for Thomas to get the kind of lucrative deal he was hoping to command would have been turning things around with the Cavaliers and having James re-sign in Cleveland. That would have all but forced the Cavaliers to re-sign him using bird rights. Now, Thomas finds himself with a team that's unlikely to have